Hey everyone, this is my Patreon proud reaction to the 59th episode of Uchuu Kyoudai, or Space Brothers. And last episode, we got into some real backstory of the whole Vincent, Pico, and one other person friendship that they had. All three of them very much interested in space and trying to pursue careers in that, like slightly different careers, but all within the sphere, the space sphere of things, and like being able to help each other and stuff. Like it was a pretty great idea. I guess we'll see how that goes. I don't think we know much about what happened to the third person, so maybe we'll get more into that. Maybe we'll get more of the backstory in this episode. So let's get into it and find out. 3, 2, 1, play. And we're still in that, so hopefully we can make our comeback. A brilliant idea, isn't it? Hmm. But Vincent also comes along because he's friend. Hopefully they return in one piece. Hmm. A lot of recapping, not sure it's all necessary, but what we're getting. What did I do with that one? I guess it doesn't really matter right now, but... There's a little promise sign, which is basically just a fancy handshake. Indeed. While the opening plays, I'm gonna look for what I'm trying to find. Okay, I found it. It was just pushed back a bit further than I thought. So, when is Oppo gonna get to go to space? That's my biggest question. Promise sign. I guess in the rocket piece. A lot. Well, I'm pretty sure he has his as well. Poor Muta, he's so left out. He's such a third wheel here. Back to the mine where I'm sure something bad's gonna happen. Last one, so... Are you saying there's been like a year time skip? Yes, the worst crime a child can commit, making things less convenient for the adults around him. Very quiet. Rick, that was his name. Rude. Oh. I guess he got into a bit of a fight there. I really doubt it. Yeah, I figured. Which may or may not be related to the father hitting him thing. Probably is. Yeah, where I'm sure something bad's going to happen. Yeah, things kind of falling apart. I don't know, I just... Even though I don't have a lot of reason to believe this, I just feel like something bad's going to happen at the career fair. I mean, it doesn't have to. Obviously, the career thing is kind of the bad thing because really pulling them apart. Cloudy sky. Watch out for the ice. Rick might get a black eye from falling on the ice, but... well, that's your opinion. Have they? Yes, it seems like it. Well, clearly both of their fathers are a little bit difficult to convince. Ah, the promise sign, the title. I didn't think they would do it. Things are pretty much officially falling apart here. No, you don't. You were told your limits by somebody else. Well, clearly they both get involved in space. So. That's a pretty great coincidence. Just kind of hurts to watch. Definitely determined. It's just weird though, because those two are the ones we see working in the space industry in the current timeline. So something obviously had to have happened. Like Rick dying and then pursuing space in his memory or something. All I can really think of. Because that would explain pretty much everything. Especially with that line about regret right there. That's what really made me think that. Something definitely happened. Oh man, the whole car went in. The piece just floating in the water. Just so horrible. The last conversation they had was that fight. Yeah, it's kind of a big deal, you know. All you can do is pursue the dream best you can. Well said. The promised sign. Just the two of them. It's, yeah. Don't forget your part, Kibito. Welcome to the moon. And I kind of forgot Azuma was actually going to the moon. But, yeah. Yeah, Azuma's pretty cool. Huh. Handshake, how American. Yeah, I look forward to it. He's a pretty cool guy. The past, mostly. This is what we got. uh, yes. It was not a smart decision, but it was the one he made. Okay. Guess we're ready. Hopefully we do well. Cool. Can you really not tell the difference? I can know a lot of Americans couldn't tell the difference between a Japanese, Chinese, or Korean person, but I figured at least those groups of people could generally tell. Well, rain is a big problem for our sponge wheels, so we're gonna have to watch out for that. Yeah, I get it. But ours especially. And it's pretty much over if that happens if we hit a puddle, so let's hope that we don't hit a puddle. But rain can mess things up. That's some really bad luck. I mean, that's what the Indian girl was actually talking about as a bad thing. But yeah, I mean, puddles shouldn't last too long in a desert like that. Out of the entire show, this episode's probably the one that hit me in the feels the hardest. At least I don't think any other part of the show got me to actually tear up like that. Okay, that was the 59th episode of Space Brothers. And this episode, I was right that we got some continuations on the backstory of those two. And for a while, I had a question in my mind about what happened to Rick. He obviously isn't part of the trio anymore. It's just Vincent and Pico. So the only two options were he either went off to do something else or he died. So the possibility of him dying was pretty much always in my head since we met Rick, pretty much. But I was leaning towards just, him going out to do a different career or whatever. And I was leaning towards that for a while. However, as it got more and more close to, the fights, I started to shift my opinion on that. It got more and more, just felt like it was more and more going in that direction. And when they had that fight and he stormed off, I mean, that made it pretty clear how things were going to go because of what we know, because we have the power of hindsight. We know that the end result is Pico and Vincent are working in the space industry, and Rick seemingly is not. And the only way to get to that point from that kind of fight is pretty much Rick died, and that's what spurred them to continue. That was pretty much the only way things could go after that fight. So I wasn't too surprised after that, especially when they made that comment about regret. That's what really made it very, very clear. But, just I wasn't really expecting, I didn't know how it would happen, I was actually leaning towards suicide, but I'm glad that's not what happened. I mean, not that this isn't really all that much better, but the reality is that there was a car accident, and they went through the ice into the water, and yeah, it wasn't just Rick, it was whoever else was in the vehicle. just makes it so much worse. And it was almost kind of foreshadowed because we saw Rick kept, slipping and falling and asked Pico if his injury was from falling on the ice. So it was kind of foreshadowed, I guess, but just yeah, just even if I knew pretty much that Rick was gonna die, just the way it was executed, it was executed well. Just seeing the vehicle get pulled out like that, seeing Rick just lying there dead, and then just seeing Pico and Vincent's just crying their eyes out like that, like it hurts. It hurt to watch all that. That was just so extremely tragic that that had to happen at all. But the fact that it happened after that basically friendship-ending fight that they kind of had there, but they were also close before that. But that was the one big fight where T just gave up on them and ran off. They didn't even do their promise sign and all that, and just it had to have been after that that this sort of thing happened. It was just extremely sad. That's all that really can be said about it. The only good thing that came out of that is that it did spur them on to continue the dream for the three of them. Rick might not be there to do it himself, but at the very least, Vincent and Pico will. So if he's watching them from somewhere, he should at least be happy with that much. And it definitely makes more sense now why they carried the pieces of the rocket. Like, I didn't find it weird or anything before. But it also didn't make a huge lot of sense why it would have that much meaning to them to keep it like that. If it was just like, yeah, this has some sentimental value, we made rockets as a kid or whatever, we keep us with us to remind us where we came from. That's kind of how I took it initially. But, if it's more of a memory of their dead friend, it makes a lot more sense how much value that they carry with that, because that was something they made and used together, back when he was still around. So, yeah, I do really like how all that came together. By the end of the flashback, a lot of things made sense. The episode made me very sad, but it was still a good episode. Not so much the episode, just the overall arc. It's just been very good. So I just like how all that was executed. I only knew Rick for like an episode or and a half, roughly. Maybe not even that. And yet I was still fairly invested in that character. But a lot of that had to do with because of his connection to people like Pico and Vincent, who I am more connected to because we've known them for quite a bit longer as the audience. So that had a lot to do with it. But still, the end result is the same. Anyway, that's enough of that. So we did go back to the present timeline, and Azuma and his group finally made it to the moon. Had a nice little welcome, confetti and all that. And especially nice Hibito and Azuma meeting up like that. A lot of respect there between the two of them, considering everything that's happened. I like how he went from Hibito doing that bow to him just being like, no, handshake time. Because, bowing makes sense because they're both Japanese, but went for the handshake anyway. It's actually a pretty deep bow that Hibito did as well. But clearly seeing each other as equals and all that there, so it was pretty cool. The big problem, though, for our main group here is that there was rain, and our rover uses sponge wheels that rely on dry desert environments to function properly. And if that thing goes into a puddle, that's a very big problem for sponges because they absorb water, if you didn't know. So, yeah, that's hopefully we avoid water. That's, I guess, the best we can hope for. Thank you for watching, and a special thanks to Cnouki for supporting the channel. If you enjoyed this video, I hope you consider clicking the like button and leaving a comment, because that's a great and easy way to let me know that people want more. If you want to do something big to help the channel, you can support me on Patreon and get nice benefits like early access to certain videos. See you next time.